So my name's Grant Prentice, and I started cooking when I was 15 years old. And during this time, I started to develop a bit of a hunger for property. So I'd managed to save $22,000 at the time for a deposit on my first place. But I didn't know how to go about it. And this is where my life changed, actually, because I remember sitting down at home one evening, and I wasn't home very often. And Mum and Dad said, I've got this broker coming round. And the broker came round, and I had no idea what it was about, how I go about it, but all I wanted to do was buy a place. When I'd sat down by the end of this, I was very excited about what I'd heard. My parents were keen, but they've always been on the back foot a little bit in regards to not taking that next step, whereas I'd always been on the front foot and knowing what I wanted to do. So they turned around and said, well, that's great, Grant, if you want to go ahead with it. We're happy where we are at the moment. I think it might have been the week after I made the nervous phone call back to the broker at this time, Jennifer Shelbert. Didn't know what to expect, didn't know where I was going to go with it, but it turned out to be one of the most changing moments of my life, because from that point there, I was driven in what I needed to do, but not in the mindset of making me believe what I could do. It was how I could do it and how I could achieve it. And what really changed it for me was there were so many options out there, and all you needed was just a bit of assistance to get along. And that was the driving force behind me wanting to do, because from there I was able to change from the existing home loan that I had and basically take it somewhere else. It wasn't all smooth sailing from the start. The loan that I actually changed to was good at the time, but it was certainly a learning curve, because as a young man, even though I was a good saver, a lot of the money that went into there was a revolving mortgage account. So it was used to obviously put all your wages and reduce costs, reduce your interest, and drive your principal down. Even though, as I said, I was a good saver, going through that stage there, I was pulling some more money out at the time as a young man, going out, and then pulling money in and out. And it was a good setup, but it just wasn't for me at the time. When I'd actually gone back and reviewed, I'd actually changed things around. And when I changed things around, I went to a more simplified system, just due to me being comfortable with it and being on the slightly conservative side. The loan certainly made me more disciplined in what I needed to do and gave me direction. And throughout this process, I found myself becoming closer to Jennifer, which was quite nice, because we were no longer a client-broker relationship. We were also extending on that as mates and friends. And I found her to be quite a good mentor in where I wanted to be. So we stayed in close friendship throughout, and she knows me quite well, and back to front, and vice versa. Made visits over the time down to visit her interstate, down to Melbourne on a social level, and also spoken to her most afternoons over months since I've known her. So that was the first initial stage that I'd basically met Jennifer. After that, I started to get the thirst to go in to buy another property. In this time, I'd had numerous relationships, 2 to 3 relationships. They've come and gone, but I'd still had the drive to do something and do something else. There was some bug in me that made me want to do something else. From there, I'd kept in contact with Jennifer, and I started to inquire as to how else I would go to purchase my next property, but I was very nervous and didn't know how to go about it. So I inquired and said, how do we do this? And she said, well, what do you want to do? And just quite a simple, blatant answer, very direct, exactly what I wanted to hear. And I basically told her all the things that I wanted to achieve and where I wanted to go. And after 3 to 4 years of trying to convince me to do something else, because she knew that I'd be able to go on with it, I made the decision finally to inquire some more and start to really see what I could do to get my second property. From there, I was able to get the second property, got it across the line, and it was celebration time. I'd had a place, I've lived in it, I've rented it out. That was my first place as a young 20-year-old. Then by the age of 26, I was able to get the second, and from there it was just elation. I felt like I could do anything from here. I felt bulletproof. We basically decided to keep renting in Sydney in the area that we wanted, and decided to keep going in the investment path. So then I contacted my mentor and friend, Jennifer Shelbert again, my old mate. So we said, right, we're not going to purchase, let's make this happen. And it was changing this time, because at no stage did I say, how do we do this? I'd already had experience, I already had the bug and the drive, and she basically had all the tools ready to go. And with a wry grin over the phone that I couldn't see, she knew exactly what we wanted to do, and I could feel that through the phone conversation. She assured me that the loan wouldn't be a problem, but we'd obviously still have to go through the right procedures and measures. But with the amount of equity that we've had over the years in the previous investment portfolios, it shouldn't be a problem. So that gave me the confidence to go through and have a look and see what we could actually do, whether we would purchase these 2 new duplexes in Melbourne's West. And I'm happy to say that in the last week or so, the finance has been cleared, and we're on our way to having 4 properties. Yep. So we decided to go down into Melbourne's West because the prices were going to be a lot better for us. We were able to purchase something off the plan, and we were going to get everything that we wanted in a growth area. So not only were we going to be able to have tenancy easily letted, we were able to go through and purchase exactly what we wanted at a good price. To try and do that in Sydney, you just wouldn't be able to do it at the prices that we can get down here, and also achieve growth. So at the moment, we've got 4 properties at the age of 36. I'm quite happy with where I'm at the moment. I'm elated, actually. I'm not sure where both my partner and myself are going to be going. We would like to purchase more, and are quite comfortable that we can do so. At the moment, the period of my life where we are, we're just negotiating what we want over the next 12 months to 2 years, and we're going to go from there. So I decided to go down the property path versus other means of making money, like your share markets, because I felt the share market was too volatile. I'd also had experiences with my friends who have been in the finance game, who have sure made big money, but it's come and gone. And I'd always been in property. I've always had an excitement for it, and I've always had an interest in it. And I'd always had the simple thing of bricks and mortar, and your bricks and mortar aren't going to go down. And I'd always been stable in those thoughts, and that's why I felt comfortable going into the property market. So I have definitely had to sacrifice some things, and that's due to definitely my trade over the years. Being in the cooking industry is unforgiving. I've certainly worked hard to where I've gotten, and I think anywhere where you want to work hard and achieve results, you need to sacrifice something. So certainly sacrificed over the years, and that becomes 90, 80, 90-hour weeks from there. And but on a day-to-day living, no, I haven't, because the way that it's been structured and the way that we've done it through Jennifer and Mrs. Mortgage is that the equity in turn gets you to your next one, and also basically covers you from day-to-day living, so you're not having to take it out of your own pocket. So Mrs. Mortgage to me is very important in what I've done throughout my whole time, and we've known each other now since 2001. And what she instills in me is confidence, and she also instills in me that you can do it, and she's very knowledgeable in what she does. And to me that's priceless, because there's so many different areas you can attain information these days, and it's sort of trying to work out what good information, what is and what isn't, and with that comes a lot of confusion. But my whole time with Mrs. Mortgage, I've always had instilled that I can do it, and direction of where to go, which has made me feel confident to go down my property portfolio. So what's helped me over the years with the structure of how I've actually gone from one property right through the way through is, the first one I was very nervous. I was a rookie, I had no idea what I was doing, and I was basically guided by Jennifer at Mrs. Mortgage on how I could best structure my lifestyle versus what I need to do to achieve my investment goals. We ended up going through the second and third to fourth properties, especially the second one. That's where I started to actually, I was able to understand how you can actually best set it up. And that was obviously through trial and error. The first one was certainly a learning curve. And by the time I got to the second and certainly the third and the fourth, the way it was structured was very simple. And that comes from your broker. If you've got it set up the right way, and you're able to have the structure set up the best way for your living arrangements, and also how your investment portfolio works, that's the key. I think I would recommend any potential investor to at least give Mrs. Mortgage a call and speak with Jennifer. I think she offers so much, and she certainly, on a personal level for me, got me to where I'm here today, hands down. And I think it's the way that she conducts her business, and I also think it's the professionalism she uses, and also the tools that she has, and the experience. I think the experience is the most important part, because experience in the game is priceless. And with that instills confidence as an investor. And I started from the rookie stage, and that certainly assisted me moving forward. So I would recommend her on any shape or level. Yep. So just in summary, I'd just like to say that to all investors out there, never lose hope. If you've got that glint in your eye and you've got that dream, if you want to do it, you can certainly do it. And you don't have to be rich. You don't have to be on a huge wage. Everyday person can do it. I've certainly done it. I've started from the bottom, and I'm on my way to achieving the goals that I want.